Welcome to a slightly chilly sunrise safari. It's 18 degrees Celsius, 66 Fahrenheit, but there's a bit of moisture in the air. So I don't think it's going to rain. I think we just got some heavy mist this morning. My name is Brent Smith. I have Dangerous Dave on camera. On the other vehicle, we have Sam and Brian. In final control, Kirsten and Rebecca. So, very quiet. The Lions made a little bit of noise last night, and thank you to Lucy in South Bend, Indiana for that update. So Sam and I are busy having a quick look around, see what's going on, see if we can hear anything, see if we find any tracks. I'm checking from the sort of south section. Sam's going to check from the north. If I get no luck, I might start the longer amble down towards Cheetah Plains. The Birmingham boys, Dave just went, yes, behind me, because he has just got back from leave, so he hasn't explored the vast open plains of the cheetah yet. And we're going to quickly look for these lions. I thought I heard them chase something at about 11:30 last night, but I was half asleep, so it could have been a dream, but I don't think so. So we're just going to have a quick check around here, and if not, we'll start heading down. We reported those Birminghams, they were heading south from Buffelshoek into Torchwood, and it's possible that they could keep moving into Cheetah Plains. So that's our backup plan, but first let's look for the lovely Nkuhuma ladies. Now, having a look at those Nkuhumas, one of them is definitely pregnant from what I could see. Carl says it's been a while. Haha, say I can rhyme, Carl. Since there's been a quiz from me. Well, you know what? I thought I'd give you guys a break. Don't want to test you guys too hard, but I will think of a nice quiz to get going while we look for these lions. And why don't you guys let me know what type of quiz would you like? Would you like a tree quiz? Would you like a bird quiz? Or would you like a mammal quiz? Let me know what type of quiz you would like. And if you're not sure how to do that, you can pop me an email on questions@wildearth.tv or use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. And since it's been a while, I think this first quiz should be quite a tough one. Get that grey matter turning. Sorry, just chatting to Sam quickly. Standing by. Sam, I went down Philemon's Weaver's Nest, Pangolin Track, and then across onto Nyala Road South. Just making sure none of the tracks have crossed further to the south. I'd recommend maybe taking Central to last position and trying to get a direction on those tracks. Wonderful that some of these pans, natural pans from the rain, have still got water in it, and the ellies are having an absolute ball in them at the moment, and there are an incredible amount of elephants still around, which is always exciting. Love spending time with those great grey behemoths. So if there are no tracks coming out here, they could be in this block around Vulture's Nest Road. I have followed them through there quite a few times. Now, as a lot of our regular viewers will know, today is Saturday, sometimes referred to as Catterday. So maybe Catterday is going to live up to its reputation. So it seems like Mammals is the quiz of the morning. Now, give me a moment to rack my brain for a sufficiently difficult mammal quiz. Aha! I've got one. And it's going to test you a little bit because it's more Africa-based, the whole of Africa, rather than locally in the Sabi Sands. So, who can tell me which national park in Africa has the highest density of leopards? Which national park in Africa has the highest density of leopards? When I say density of leopards, I mean the most leopards per square kilometer. Right, there we go. Which park in Africa? And remember, answers through to email, questions@wildearth.tv or #SafariLive on Twitter. While we keep checking carefully and your grey matter keeps turning, hopefully quickly, let's jump across to Sam so he can bid you a good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sabi Sands. We are on a live safari. It's myself and Mr. Brian Chabet. Yes, the camera's got a bow tie on this morning. That means that we are on a formal date out here in the bush, and we are currently tracking lions. Brent has just told me that I should go see what Central is looking like towards Gowrie Cutline. We're going to see if we can find some tracks of some lions that were here yesterday. But we have set some intentions out today, and the intention is to see if we can find some wild dogs. I haven't seen any wild dogs since I've been here. I haven't seen... Ooh, there's a alarm. No. I haven't seen any wild dogs since I've been here, and that's just such a fascinating sighting to watch. So we put the intention out there to see if we can see some wild dogs, and if we are lucky enough, we'll be able to see them. But at the same time, I would love to see a purple roller. I don't know how many times you guys have seen a purple roller, but I'm in the mood to really see one of those beautiful, beautiful rollers. Please #SafariLive. Let us know what you want to see this morning. Do you want to see some birds? Do you want to see a giraffe? Do you want to see some zebra? Myself and Brian will do our very best to see if we can find you those beautiful animals out on the safari. It's around 18 degrees. It's not too chilly, but there's a slight little bit of rain. Wow. Okay, so we're gonna go up. We're gonna go up Central to see if we can find any lion tracks. Let's see what we can find today. Okay, so we're coming down into a drainage line. So coming down into the drainage line, it's always important that we stay a little bit quiet. Because often you'll find the creatures that like to be down here slowly walking through this drainage line. So we need to become aware of everything. Kirsty, please can you go with that question again? Megan's asking if there are any bat species that we'll be able to see in the area. Yeah, I'm sure there are some bat species, Megan. I haven't seen any since I've been here, but it's quite difficult because bats are not a daytime creature. They're more of a nighttime, nocturnal animal. So it's very difficult. So if we are to see a bat, it will probably be in the late evening as it gets darker and towards the thicket areas that we'll be able to see a bat. So of course, Megan, I'm going to do my very best to see a bat later on. Maybe we'll go down into the thicker areas and see if we can find one. But who knows? We might just see one during the day. Jana, good morning. Do you want to see a giraffe or a cheetah? That's very exciting. We're gonna do our best. Myself and Brian's Stum will be looking into the thick foliage to see if we can see that head coming out, which is off on the side of the giraffe, its head popping up. So we'll do our best to see a giraffe. And a cheetah, jeepers. Cheetah Plains is a place I still haven't gone yet, which is just to the south of us, and that's where Brent is this morning. Brent's going to go see if he can locate the cheetah. So there's every chance that we might be able to see one. So Jana, we're going to do our best to find a giraffe or a cheetah. But with both of those animals, both the giraffe and the cheetah really like the open plains. And we are at the moment are within the thick foliage. So I'm just driving up through this foliage and to see if there's any tracks of the lions. And then as we come out onto the crest, we'll go towards the more open areas and we'll see if we can see any of those open plains game. And that is the best opportunity to see those animals. As we secretly go through here, let's go see what Brent's up to. We'll see you just now.
So we've got the tracks of the Nkuhumas heading east at the moment, down the road. Unfortunately, the light's very bad, but we're on the tracks. So it seems like you're going to have to keep thinking. We've had the Sabi Sands, which is not correct. That's why I asked it, because I thought a lot of people might think it was here. And the Soutpansberg. The Soutpansberg is a mountain range in northern South Africa. It's famous for very big leopards, but not very many leopards. So no to both of those answers. So keep thinking. I can't see any tracks just now. I had them just back there. Let's have another quick look. They skedaddle off the road. It seems that they... No, they're still here. So now update. Let's just check the junction before we speak on the radio. Okay, so we've still got the tracks here. The next junction, see where they go. Now we want them to go that way, not that way. But, as you know, the lions sometimes just don't listen to my telepathy. But today dear. I thought I saw one track coming in this direction. Let's just check a little bit down the road. Now, with the amount of elephants there are about at the moment, it can make it a little bit more challenging for the lions to keep to their plan, and they get chased. Just check the soft sand up ahead, and then it looks like they didn't listen to me, my mental telepathy last night, and they've headed further to the east. Now, we are quite close to the eastern edge of our traverse area, so they might cut north along the boundary, but it's likely that they might have headed into Torchwood. Now, they do head into that area quite often. Oh, it seems like I've really got the brains working this sunrise safari. So we've got Serengeti, Okavango, Masai Mara. And unfortunately, none of those are correct. And also, unfortunately, the lions are still heading east. Nkuhuma or Nkuhuma's continues east on Central from Drakensberg Junction towards Chilakatlan. Oh, and the elephants have been busy again. Now, do we think the lions walked under the arch? I think the lions walked under the arch. Let's have a look. And they did. It's very difficult to see, but you can just make out a track there. I know, this light makes life very difficult, but there's a lion track there, going through the arch under the marula that has definitely been pulled down by an elephant. This is, I think, a job for manpower. You just move it quickly, and hopefully I don't pull a Jamie and end up on my bottom. Oh, it's heavy. Well, at least enough space for us to get around. I'm definitely not as strong as an elephant. I can't just, maneuver it about. Now, if you ever have to move a branch like that an elephant has pulled down or pushed down, it gives you some of the idea about how incredibly strong those animals are. And that branch probably weighs a good 500 pounds, maybe a bit more. And literally an elephant, a big bull elephant, will pick that up like a toothpick. Lion tracks still here, on top of the elephant tracks. Well, hello to Desert Eagle, a new viewer, or relatively new viewer. It's been a while since we've heard from you, Desert Eagle. Desert Eagle's wondering what happens if the vehicle breaks down amongst dangerous animals. Well, it all depends. Most of the time you can actually move around and fix it. Other times we'll actually just disembark, call for another vehicle to come fetch us. But most of the time you are able to sneakily fix it. Lion track still there. And I've got this sinking sensation, I'm afraid, that I think they're going to keep going straight east into Torchwood. But hopefully I'm wrong. But I don't think so. And we are up on top of the crest now, and they said there's a bit of moisture around, and it's mist. So if we do get a few spots on the lens, we do apologize. It's just the mist right on top here. And no Nkuhuma. Bad Nkuhuma. There we go. Let's try to put some light just to get, you can see the tracks. There we go. Off to the east into Torchwood. Oh dear. Well, you win some and you lose some. For every track that goes out, one's got to come in. Let me just update everyone else. So I'm just listening to the game drive area. It seems like Aubrey's found some tracks of Queen Karula. I'm just seeing where they are. And Aubrey and Taxon are looking for her on the western side of the reserve, so quite far from where we are. And Konzo and Nkuhuma's head straight east at Central Junction with Cheetah Cut Line towards Torchwood Mighty. So I think we're going to leave the area and start moving further towards the east. Standing by, Mike. Nkuhuma Pride, their tracks. Copy, good luck. Any updates from you and Dal this morning? Copy, thanks very much, Mike. I think I'm going to go give your side a try this morning. One second, guys. Copy, thanks. Confirm, is F out this morning or just you? Copy, thanks. So, just getting a quick update from Cheetah Plainside, and they're going to check that male lion and lioness that we saw at a great distance yesterday with Jamie and with me have possibly moved a little bit further, and who knows, maybe the cheetah around. I know quarantine male leopard's been hanging around the boundary between Annette's Chitwa and Cheetah Plains, so also possibly worth having a look around there for him. But we're going to start our maneuver down towards the far east. Well done to Nchumba, James and Gail, whose grey matter is firing on all cylinders this morning, and the highest density of leopards in Africa is the South Luangwa National Park in Zambia, a very beautiful part of the world. So while we continue and start heading down towards Cheetah Plains, let's go see Sam, who's got one of the most important pieces of our ecosystem.
Welcome back, everyone. Here we are with some grasses. As you can see, I'm going to hold them nice and still so that you can get a good focus of these different grasses. We have 3 different species of grass here, and I'm fascinated by grass just because they provide such an important role to play in the ecosystem. The different animals will eat different types of grasses depending on what their food and dietary requirements are. And so I just picked out 3. I'm trying to learn my grasses again and get to know this place a little bit better. I know 2 of them. I don't know one of them, which is the one on the left. If someone can tell me what the one on the left is, that'll be amazing. But maybe let's do it one at a time, and we can do a quiz as the drive goes on. So I'll take one. The first one, if you know what this grass is, #Safari Live or email at questions@wildearth.tv. We would love to know what your theories are. Well, not your theory, just what you think they are. And I'm really, really fascinated by grass as well. Just to quickly show you, when taking grass, I used to take a lot of notes and understanding different things within grass. So how does grass form in order to collect sunlight? And the reason I show that, if we can just focus on the spiral here. How does a plant try and maximize on the amount of energy it's getting from the sun? And this is just something I did on my own while studying last year. And if we just have a look at one of them, I just find it so fascinating. If I hold this leaf to you now, this piece of grass to you now, you can kind of see my face quite well. You can see my beard and you can see my nose. But if I was to turn it and face it towards you like that, well, of course you can still see a lot more a lot less of me, but you can start seeing that thickness in there. So that's almost like the piece of grass is growing towards the sunlight, trying to collect as much sunlight as it can. So it's a very effective way of collecting sunlight. And also, just look how flexible they are. So the wind's blowing, very, very flexible thing. And within designs, within biomimicry, we're learning about everything from how to collect sunlight and how to make designs that are more flexible so that they can withstand wind. And just on the topic of wind, I cannot feel a thing on my face this morning. It is completely flat. Hey, Brian, it's not a very windy morning this morning, and that's quite interesting. It's very different to the way in which Cape Town is. I'm used to living by the blowing winds of Cape Town, and I'm waking up here to a very, very silent morning. But it's really interesting because you can quite clearly hear this different sounds of the birds, which I'm excited about because I want to find some more birds today. As I said, I'd love to see the purple roller. So if we pay attention, maybe we can find the purple roller. But so I got the update from Brian. Not Brian. From Brent, and he just said the Nkuhumas, which is the pride that we were looking for now, have just crossed into Torchwood. So they're going to be possibly out for most of the day. Maybe they'll come back a bit later, but we won't be seeing them this morning. So our plans changed slightly. We're going to go towards Buffelshoek and see if we can find something there at Buffelshoek. I know that with some of the viewers we saw some terrapins that were on top of a hippo. Terrapins on top of the hippo. And me and Brian are the terrapin team. So we're going to see if we can find some terrapins. But just during what is this, everyone? What is this? Monkey Man is saying, is it feather-topped chloris? It could very well be. This is the one grass that you often find on top of termite mounds. And I remember sitting the other morning with our hyenas and we were looking at the different grasses, and someone did say it was feather-topped chloris. So it could very well be. This is the one I didn't know. So thank you very much, Monkey Man. We may very well know what that species is. But if we go back towards the next one, now I'm pretty sure I know what this one is. But I'd love to hear from you what grass species you think this one is. I'm going to stop so you can get a closer look. There he is. Look at the significant coloration. It's almost a little bit purple. So that's the coloration. Good luck, everyone. If you know the answer, hashtag Safari Live. Let us know what type of grass you think it is. I'd be very interested to know if I'm correct or not. Steve is asking, are there certain trees or plants that elephants wouldn't eat? That's a very good question. Yes, there are some that they won't, and there's some that they will. And one in particular, in terms of the species, is the tambuti. The tambuti has a thick, milky latex in it, and it actually, some animals actually go to the tambuti to eat the leaves to try and clear their stomach, because it's like, it makes them go to the toilet basically and cleans out their system. So that's the tambuti. So they wouldn't look to go and feed on it only if they needed to self-medicate themselves, which is really, really interesting. I've never actually seen an animal feeding on a tambuti, but there is one or two that will. I think it is the kudu. But that's a very interesting question. Thank you, Steve. And also another plant that is not the nicest one to eat. The other night I was putting it in my mouth and it tasted quite horrible. If we find it again, I'll get it and I'll take another bite of it, and you'll just see the reactions in my face, and you'll see that it's not very nice. It's basically, the tannins go and make your mouth super dry, super dry. Not dry, it's almost, can't really explain. It's not a very nice taste. But there is one plant that I really, really like to eat. It almost is like spinach, and that's from the buffalo thorn. So if you're out here in the bush and you haven't had something to eat, don't go eat the silver cluster leaf. Go and eat the buffalo thorn. Because I had a terrible experience with the silver cluster leaf once. I was running, I wasn't running. I was walking through the bushveld and I had to do a drill for my firearms when I was learning my firearms, and I was sitting with my friends in the middle of the bush, and they were calling us in on the radio one by one, and I sat and I just got nervous. Not nervous, but I was just getting ready for my turn, you know. Sam, come in, Sam, go ahead, you know. And I just was nervous, and I just started eating this leaf of this tree, and it was a silver cluster leaf, and then my mouth went completely dry. And I had to run to that position while doing my rifle assessment with a very dry mouth. It wasn't very funny for me, but everyone else thought that was quite funny. Ooh. Speaking of which, the silver cluster leaf. So that is the silver cluster leaf, everyone. It's very significant, the cluster. And that's how you know, that's the leaf structure. And when you take a bite of it, I'm going to switch off the car. When you take a bite of it, you'll notice that the tannins really, really fill your mouth out. And it's a very interesting technique that plants have developed over time to try and get mammals to stop eating it. So I'm just going to take a little bite and explain to you the kind of experience that I'm having right now. I'm not going to have any more than that. It's very, very tanny. It just dries the mouth out, and it's just not a nice leaf to taste. But I thought I would just show you some of my reactions. So you'll see there's many silver cluster leaf out here. So, we haven't heard much from this piece of grass. I'm going to give one more look at it. Yes! Panamine, Maxwell, Helen, well done. That's the right answer. Guinea grass. Well done. Yes, so I also got that right. In my mind, I was like, is this guinea grass? But it is guinea grass. Thank you very much for getting that. Well done. And the third grass. This is the third grass species that we had this morning. What grass is this, everyone? I think I know the answer, but the answer, I think, is hidden by what it looks like. What does that look like, guys? What does it look like? Cool. Please hashtag Safari Live. Tweet us in. What do you think that grass is? We'd love to know. And if you have a little fact about the grass, give it too. Let us know. We can learn a little something about grasses this morning. And what's interesting about grasses is that they will form on different types of soils. Kat in Tampa is asking about my necklace. Let's have a look. That is my necklace. This necklace and this bracelet, which is a turtle, so you can quite clearly see it's a little yellow turtle, and I had the pleasure, I was very, very lucky last year to go and spend 2 weeks on the Amazon River. I was working with a number of organizations such as Greenpeace and WWF to go down the river and understand what is happening in communities in terms of the impact of development, the impact of kind of Western development on the river. And I lived with one of these communities, and I met this sweet little girl, and she was really sweet, and she made little bead necklaces and bracelets. She made one for me, which was awesome. So she made this, and she made me this. So it was a whole group of little kids, and yeah, so I was very, very lucky. I bought it from her. I love this necklace. I really, really do. But sometimes I get confused. I'm not gonna lie. I've totally forgot that I was wearing a necklace with a little gecko. It almost looks like a little gecko. But this is a type of like water monitor that they have in South America on the Amazon River. And sometimes I forget that I'm actually wearing it, and I wake up and I see this little animal on my box, and I get a little bit of a fright. But that's only happened about once or twice. I just laugh at myself when it does. But it was an amazing time on the Amazon River. Very, 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 very different. Kyle, well done. Finger grass. I didn't know it was 5 finger grass, but I just knew it as finger grass. So well done. So we've got all 3 of the species of plants, or of grasses. But I really, really enjoyed my time on the Amazon River, not only meeting the culture of people. It was incredible to learn about their way of life. You know, I've been very much brought up in a Western setting in Cape Town, and to live with people that are very indigenous to their setting and that are connected to the natural resources because they are dependent on their life on these resources, and understanding how they get all their fish from the rivers and how they live in communities. So the family is very important. So I learned some really, really interesting lessons from the people of the Amazon River. And they have the most incredible stories, really. The one story that they had was about the pink dolphin. They have pink dolphins in the Amazon. Oh, guys, if you ever get the opportunity to go to the Amazon and see pink dolphins, please do it. It's incredible. And one of the stories is that they had was that the pink dolphin would be able to come out and become a lady. She could become a beautiful lady, much like a what do you call them? what do you call, Brian, what do you call those people in the ocean that swim? Mermaids. Much like very similar to mermaids, and they can come out of the water and woo the men and take them under their spell. So they're very cautious of the pink. The ladies are very cautious of the pink dolphins because they think they're going to come and take the men and woo the men. So it's interesting how people have created stories around wilderness and the natural world. Alright, so we're going to slowly move through here towards Buffel's Hood, and we're going to see if we can find a hippo, we'll see if we can find a giraffe, like we said earlier. And where is Brent? Brent is at Cheetah Plains. I know someone really wanted to see a cheetah earlier. That's our best place to see it. Let's go and see how Brent's doing.
So we've made it all the way down to the southeast, and we're busy checking along the northern edge of our Traverse area here before we delve down into the open plains. Maybe we'll find the Gnormless Gnorman, the GNU. Maybe we'll find some lions or some cheetah. And hopefully some ostriches as well. So always exciting to come down here and peruse those big sodic open areas. Mist is still there, so we still are getting a few droplets of water, but I still think it's going to be quite a warm day, and the sun is starting to break up the misty clouds. You can see a bit of blue sky showing. So we have seen some fascinating stuff since we've been down here that we haven't really seen too much of in Nkuhuma or Arathusa. So we've had quite a few cheetah sightings, which is great. We had that square-tailed nightjar. We've heard a freckled nightjar, and big flocks of ground hornbills, a big flock of ostriches. So it does definitely add a new element. And Thai Girl says, please can we find a caracal on Cheetah Plains? I will be ecstatic to find a caracal. Hopefully we will. We've also seen both species of jackal. Well, James has side-striped and black-backed. And as we move towards the drier part of the year, this 3-in-a-row pan and Cheetah Plains pan is going to start pulling lots of animals out of the Kruger. I think it's going to be impressive. We're going to see big groupings of zebra coming through to access that water and then returning towards the grazing to the east. So very fascinating. We're going to be seeing how it changes here from the green to the almost yellow and dry. So, of course, a lot of you will know that the local language and culture in the area we are is Shangaan. Now, James is the Shangaan expert. He speaks Shangaan fluently. And Gail's wondering if we can learn a useful Shangaan word today. I think that's a fantastic idea, Gail. So I've got the perfect word to learn. It is angustiv. Angustiv. Now, why don't you see if you can say that? And if you want to have a try, take a video, pop it on Facebook or on Twitter with the hashtag Safari Live. Angustiv. Angustiv. It means, I don't know. Where did the lines go? Angustiv. Okay, so just some hyena tracks. I got excited there for a second. We're slowly moving our way towards the first of the big open areas. I can see Dave the Dangerous Dave quivering in excitement. Very excited to be on new property as Dangerous Dave. So it should be we're about to explode into the open area. Maybe explode is the wrong word, but escape out of the woodland into the first of the big open areas. Now, there's a very interesting little spot around there that I want to show you, and it's in all our traverse areas, it's the only place I've seen that's got red soil. So yesterday on the sunset safari, we decided to give the wildebeest who lives on the southern open areas a name, and it started off with normal Norman, but progressed to Gnormless Gnorman the Gnu. And Jeffrey, who's in Austin, Texas, is hoping that Gnormless Gnorman doesn't join the Lions for lunch anytime soon. I hope so too, Jeffrey. I got quite attached to Gnormless in our little section with them yesterday when you first spotted those lions and came jogging towards us. So you can see we're on the slope now, heading down towards a little river system that runs between two big open areas on Cheetah Plains. And you can start seeing the bush start to open up slightly. Here we go. Let's turn off the car and silently roll into the open. Oh, I got a fly in the eye. Better than down the throat, maybe. So there we go. Dave's going to give you a view of the open area while I try to remove the insect out of my eye. Always good to just stop and listen. And you might hear some alarm calls. Always nice to just check very carefully. And when we peruse over these open areas, and quite often it's been sticks in the last while that have caught our attention, but checking on any little abnormality that doesn't look like it slightly belongs. Could be the head of a cheetah, could be the tail of a lion. Oh, let's get a bit further forward. And as I said, there's a particular spot. Now, when you see red soil, it means that the soil is generally quite high in iron, and the bush will change a little bit. So you see, as we leave these open areas, there's one fascinating little patch. So there's just this one little sliver of this incredible red soil here on Cheetah Plains. And you can see as we move off the open area, the bush looks quite similar to what we've seen all over the Sabi Sands and where we traverse. Some terminalias, some chondritums, but still quite thickly packed and tight together. As we move a little further down this road, which if I remember correctly is called Ingwe Road, Leopard Road. I'm yet to see an Ingwe on it there. See, we sort of come around this last little bend, and you suddenly see the bush starts changing. We got some bigger acacias here, some nice leadwoods, and then you can see the bush change completely, and you can see the color in the road starting to change. And look at that! Look how red the road is. You know, big acacias. There's some long-tailed cassias, and even the sickle bush here just looks that little bit more green, that little bit more vibrant, and these soils are just that little bit better. And have a look, some nice thick grasses, and really splendid. But while we continue to check the red soils, it seems like some very dear friends of ours have done a loop-to-loop, and young Sam has found them. So let's go have a look what creature it could be.
The pride, everyone. I had no idea that we were going to see the pride this morning. I actually thought that they had crossed over into Torchwood, but here they are, just relaxing down by the water at Buffels Hook Dam. Wow, that was incredible. What a great little spot. We had seen nothing. Myself and Brian were just looking and looking, and here we find the lions here by Buffels Hook Dam. The tracks, we heard them. Myself and Brent heard them this morning. We were pretty sure they were on the property somewhere, and it's just so great to see them now. This is only the second or third time that I'm sitting now with these beautiful lionesses. They are fast asleep, as you can see. Oh, some of them are awake and just relaxing. But that one over there is fast asleep. If you guys know much about this pride, the Nkuhuma pride, please let us know what you think. Well, not what you think, what you know. We would love to know a little bit more about this pride through the viewers so that I can learn about them. Which one is the one with the amber eyes? Can anyone tell me which one amber eyes is? That would be a great piece of knowledge to know. But it is most likely that because yeah. So let's see if we can find the amber in their eyes. I can't see that from here. But they do look slightly amber. What do you think? The one on top of the hill, amber eyes? Let's see if we can go down towards the ones. They've just lifted their heads. I'll have a look at that one. Let's see what color eyes. Hello. Having a little tummy scratch. This feels good. Oh yeah. Good morning. Well, they're very tired. I think they've been walking and making quite a noise over the night. And I wonder if they've fed. They look slightly fed, but it looks like they would have eaten something small. And I'm also told that it's a possibility that one of the females in this pride is actually pregnant, which would be fantastic to find out. Ooh, there we go. Let's have a little rollover. I must say, I'm really excited to see them down by the watering hole. And, this is most likely why we didn't see any animals coming all the way up here, because the lions have been walking in this area. They walked from where they were, which was at a quarry thicket just by Djuma Dam or Djuma Pan yesterday. That's where we saw them, and now they must have walked straight in a west or in an easterly direction straight to this dam. And everything must have just run away in different directions to the north and south. So that's why we didn't see anything. But they look very relaxed. I think it's exciting that they're also by a watering hole, because a lot of the time you get different animals that will come down to the watering hole to drink during the day. I don't think if they see a pride of lions that they'll want to come and drink here. But you never know. They might just be not very observant and they come down and have a little drink. And the lions will take that opportunity. Lions are very opportunist animals, and if they see something that presents itself, they will go for it. But I think it looks like they've fed a little, maybe something small over the night, and now they're just relaxing. And what they'll do is they'll, have something to drink, and they'll go find a thicket somewhere to lie up on and rest over the night. still haven't seen the male lions, and sometimes the male lions will come through with the pride, but I still haven't had that opportunity to see them. But while we sit here with the lions, let's go and see what Brent's up to. I think he's with a giraffe. That'll be exciting. I know someone wanted to see a giraffe. Otherwise, we'll be sitting here and we'll see just now.
So Deanna, there we go. Deanna requested giraffe on the Sunrise Safari. And here we have a little bachelor group of giraffe. So all young males. Oh, look, there we go, a little bit of play fighting. That's the one nice thing about young males is they sometimes do that play fighting. Like that. Hopefully they'll move out behind the bush when they do it. Now, all practice for when they're big and have to challenge a big, dominant male giraffe for access to females. I think this is the first giraffe I've seen on cheetah plains. It's quite nice to see them out in a big open area. Now there's quite a few little acacias and Chinese lantern trees or sickle bush out here interspersed between the grass, and that's what they're out here feeding on. Now, you can see how they move their necks there. At the moment they're moving it very slowly, not very serious about their intentions, but you can imagine when they're big, strong, dominant males, they can really get quite a swing going, and there's an incredible amount of power that it goes through, and momentum that the giraffe used to fight. So although they don't look it, they're incredibly graceful. Or not, they do look very graceful, but they don't look like they're very fast. However, they can get a fair head of steam up. They'd probably no more than about 20 miles, 25 miles an hour. They rely on those long necks and their height to spot predators. Now those giraffe are slowly moving back towards the Kruger National Park. The edge of the tree line that they're heading towards is Kruger. So let's just move a little bit so we can watch them disappear across the clearing. So Clayton said he didn't see any oxpeckers. Is that because there's no sunshine? That probably is. The oxpeckers prefer to move when it's a bit warmer, and especially because there was quite a heavy mist and that would collect on their wings and make it a little bit more difficult for them to fly. But I'm quite sure now that mist is starting to lift, the oxpeckers are going to starting to get moving. Oh, there's some of that necking again between those two young males on the left. There we go. What are they feeding off there? Actually feeding off a young leadwood. Can you believe that in 1414 a giraffe was shipped from Africa all the way to China during the Ming dynasty, where I think the emperor kept quite the menagerie of different animals, and he managed to successfully get a giraffe from Africa to China all those many years ago. You know, giraffe have been quite common in early human history throughout Africa, as well as into ancient Greece, and the Romans also used to keep giraffe in their menageries. But for me, probably one of the most interesting things is the world's largest petroglyph or rock art was of a giraffe, and it's in the Sahara Desert. But these giraffe look like they're going to keep moving into the Kruger. So while they do that, and we head towards Gnorman's patch, let's go back to Sam and the lions.
Guys, this is so exciting to be sitting with the pride. It's the first time I've located them just on my own to come and see them. It's just really exciting knowing that I've found them for the first time on my own, which is great. And they're sitting by one of my favorite places already here at Nkuhuma. This watering hole has brought so much life and so much entertainment already to my drives here at LiveSafari. And these females, how big they are. They're actually very, very big. I think, look at those eyes. I think that actually could very well be amber eyes. Yeah, they're negative. No. So amber eyes must be a little bit darker. We'll have a look a little bit later. I'm getting to know you guys a little bit better. Understanding pride dynamics is super, super interesting. The way in which they are in the pride and how the males influence them. It's such an interesting social structure. Pretty much the only social cat. So you have many, many different cats here in the bush, from caracal to serval, and they're all very solitary. And here, the lions are social, and they live in a pride. And it's just very interesting to see how pride dynamics work and how they litter. It's one of the most fascinating things I was reading the other day and getting to know a bit better was the advent of, well, not the advent, the just infanticide, how a male lion will come into an area, change or kill all the little cubs here, and that will actually create the females to become fertile. So, it actually it benefits the new lion coming in to kill all the cubs and then impregnate them, because they become super fertile straight away. And then that also is good for the females. I mean, it must be quite traumatic to lose your cubs, but for the females, the positive of it is that it's going to give them the best gene, the most dominant gene to allow those cubs to have the best life. So, from a natural selection point of view, having the best gene is the best for that individual or that species. So understanding lion dynamics is exceptionally interesting. And the males, and as I said, I haven't seen the males on this property, but just hold on, look at that shot. Look how beautiful that shot is. If you can have screenshot that, because you have a picture of a sleeping lion in the water there. I think that looks so beautiful. Look at that. Wow. It looks so cool. You can see the underside of its nose and all the hairs. Look at all those hairs underneath its lip there. So this one, could very well be the female that is pregnant. I'm not sure. And Anna Marie is saying that lions seem to really like these overcast, damp mornings. I couldn't agree with you more, Anna Marie. That's pretty much the only times I've seen them. But you know what's quite nice? Ooh, one's up, active. What are you gonna do? They're very social in the sense that they'll rub each other's faces and they're very good to each other. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll be able to see that. One of the females going up to another female and rubbing their faces against each other. It's one of my favorite things to watch. But it's an overcast morning, Anna Marie, and they're sitting down by the water, so they're sitting out where the sun could potentially be hitting them if it was very hot. And yesterday actually was a very hot day. It cleared up and got hot, and they went into a guarri thicket, which is a type of tree, guarri, and they went and sat underneath in the shade there, which made it a little bit more comfortable for them. But just sitting here, you can see so much going on here. Look at all the different types of trees. Megan's asking, do lions ever hunt hippo? That's a great question. I can't say I've ever. I don't think they have. They will go maybe on a young hippo that is separated from the mother for a bit. But it's very dangerous. It's more risky for them to try and kill a hippo. There definitely are cases, as there are cases of buffaloes being eaten and all that. But they're a very aggressive animal, the hippo, and they're very strong, they're very heavy, and they can run pretty quickly. So lions will, if they can be opportunistic on a hippo, they will do so if they see an injured hippo. But most of the time the hippos are in the water, safe of the predator. It would most likely be at night time when they go out to feed and they're not expecting to see a lion. So that would be the answer towards that. I'm sure there are many cases of this. But let's just have a look at this watering hole while we're here. Up there we have some of the buffalo weavers, which we've seen a few times. There goes one flying in front of your screen. That buffalo weaver must be off to see if he can find a twig, because they have very big twigs. And what is that other bird inside the tree there? It's a hornbill. Incredible. It's a yellow-billed hornbill and a grey lory, or otherwise known as the go-away bird. It is the go-away bird. It makes the go away, go away. Sometimes when you're going on a bushwalk and all you hear is go away, go away. It's not very nice. You feel quite unwelcome in the bush when you go, Mr. Go-away bird's there. But have a look at that silhouette. There's one bird that's on the very, very top of that tree. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer to that. I'm going to have to get my binoculars out and see what bird that is. Wow. Even with binoculars and this light, it's very difficult to pick up because it's just silhouetted in the darkness there. Can't say. It's got a conical beak. Well, I have no idea what bird that is on top there. If anyone knows from that distance, let me know. #SafariLive, and we'd love to know what your thoughts are on that bird that is sitting as a silhouette on that tree. Going back to the lions now, you can see they're quite relaxed. As I said, they're going to be influencing the ecology of this area quite significantly. The fear in all the different animals are there. You'll hear the sound of birds alarming. Not only is it a very still day, but it'll be quiet in terms of the animals coming down to the watering hole, as not very safe down here. But I have never seen a lion kill, so I'm hoping, maybe. Yes. James Richard is saying that it could very well be this lion that is right down by the water's edge. That could be the pregnant one. And I was saying a little bit earlier that I thought that might be. I mean, have a look at those nipples, as you said, James Richard asked us, and they do look fairly large, don't they? And the stomach looks quite swelled up. So this could very well be our female that is pregnant. And how exciting is that? We know that there's leopards out in the bushveld that have cubs. It's Karula, the beautiful Queen Karula, which I had the great introduction to the other day, to her and her cubs. Very, very exciting moments in my life to see leopard cubs. And now that we've got a female that is looking quite big, to have the opportunity to see lion cubs oh wow, and to watch lion cubs. You know, often when you're sitting with cats that are lying down during the day and they've got cubs, it's always really interesting because the cubs will wake up first and they'll just play with each other. And I used to watch that when I was at Londolozi for hours. I used to watch lion cubs jumping on each other and pouncing on each other and pretending that the other one was prey. It was very, very, very exciting. So we're going to sit down here and we're going to relax with these lions a little bit more, see what they have to do, and maybe see what other bird species are here. I'm going to have a look at that bird on top of the tree and see if I can figure it out. For now, let's go and see what Brent's up to. See you now.
So we're out on the southern open area, and it looks like our friend Gnorman the Gnu has managed to avoid predation overnight, and not so busy scent marking but feeding this morning. And you can see as he's very choosily selecting the grass species that he's a fan of. Very selective feeders and really love short grass. And it looks like our Gnorman, quite a proactive wildebeest, checking around, making sure he's not surprised by something. Or he could be scanning the horizon for potential females. Now, when we first saw Gnorman yesterday, he spotted those lions that were lying up far to the south of our boundary. And I wonder if they're still there or have they moved. So let's go and leave Gnorman to his breakfast and go see if those lions are still there. Morning, Douglas in Arizona. Douglas has asked quite an interesting question. These massive open areas around us, are they man-made clearings as quarantine is? Now, yes and no, Douglas. This is where it gets a little complicated. So, for many, many years, there used to be a fence between the Sabi Sands and the Kruger National Park. It only came down in the early 90s. And what that meant is there were no elephants and there were actually very few buffalo. So what happened is a lot of these open areas like this, which is on a sort of natural sodic site or seep line, would have been quite open, but over the years that there were no elephants, no big herds of buffalo, they became encroached. So the smaller tree species like the sickle bush and that literally slowly but surely closed off these areas. So man has then sort of stepped in and helped, so to speak, and helped by reopening some of these areas. So it's a combination of a natural clearing and a man-made open area. Trying to reinstall what it would have been like, or what we think it would have been like a couple of 100 years ago. Deanna's wondering what type of grasses will Gnorman eat. Are there different grasses on Conchita plains. There'll be a lot of the same species, but as you can see, these are, on this particular area, they're kept very short by the animals. Now, Nkuhuma likes what you call decreaser grass species, and he likes short decreaser grass species. So, decreaser grass species are the best in terms of nutrient value, and they are at their best when they are short. So he'll be eating Thermida or Natal redgrass, panicum, some of the digitaras, few of the eragrostuses, but in general, a similar grass species, but at a different height. Now I'm just going to pick up my binos, see if we can spot those lions that were lying on that dam wall last night. Our vultures are still sitting in the dead tree. But now let's see if we can see those lions. I was really hoping that they might meander towards us rather than keep sleeping there, but let's have a look. I'm not seeing them today. Maybe they have moved off. There's a couple of vultures still to the left there, Dave. And zoom. There's a little bit more to the left. There's a dead single tree, there we go. We zoom in there, on top of that tree, there's a few vultures. There were a few more last night. I'm just trying to double check around, see if the vultures have moved closer or on the ground. It doesn't look like it. Oh, exciting. Maybe the lions have moved towards us. Let's check a little bit further to the west. Now, there's a bit of a conundrum going at the moment as to who these lions could be. So I'm just trying to wait to hear over the radio if all 5 Birmingham boys are found on this sunrise safari. But there was a lioness with them yesterday, and all 3 Styx lionesses have already been found further to the west of us. So very interesting. Now, could these possibly be new lions that have come up from the south? While we check for these lions, let's jump back on board with Sam, who's still with the beautiful Nkuhuma girls.
The Nkuhuma ladies. Beautiful ladies that I'm just getting to know here in the bushveld. Starting to understand their way of life, their influence on the landscape, the type of places they like to go and sleep. And here is one of them. This watering hole, it's so nice to be sitting here because the light's starting to come out. Mobile Paddy is asked an exceptionally interesting question around why do some birds alarm call at lions when they have no direct influence or effect on them. It's not like they can catch a bird. That is such a fascinating question. Thank you for bringing that up. My answer to that would be that some birds have a relationship to more than just the lion. So they benefit from telling other mammals about predators on the landscape, because some birds actually need some mammals, herbivores for example, to be able to help them uproot all the insects that run past them, and like mongooses and hornbills very much have that relationship where the hornbill will alarm call at a lion or a leopard or any type of threat to them, and in doing so they help them find all the insects in the ground. So the mongoose will go and pull up all these insects, and the hornbill will come down and eat some of those insects. So sometimes, it's because of a relationship that they have, not with the lion, but with a mammal that the lion is predating on, which is really quite interesting. Super interesting question. Thank you very much for that. It's fascinating when you start to really uncover and unravel some of the relationships of the natural world and how it all works and ties together. And there's a quote by John Muir, which is, when you pull a dandelion out of the ground, you'll see that it's attached to everything else. It's such an important thing that whole quote. When you pull that dandelion out, you realize that there's a world that's connected beneath the soil to that dandelion, and the world that is connected outside of that dandelion in terms of the bees and the flowers. And it just takes looking at one thing to understand a little bit more of the whole. That's what Thomas Berry said, that the world is a communion of subjects, not a communion of objects. And here they are resting on the ground. It's incredible. Hopefully they'll most likely be lying for most of the morning, but it's funny, they just make you feel tired. I feel tired just watching these lions. I'm just thinking about what the kind of night they had last night and how they were walking and what they did. They had a whole adventure last night, and that's why they're so tired now. Oh. But yeah, I just want to talk about something that's really interesting that's happening at this watering hole. And we have the opportunity to see one of the dragonflies. I saw a dragonfly just flying around me just now, and I'm really fascinated by dragonflies. And as soon as I spot one, we'll see if we can talk about it a little bit more. But dragonflies are an incredible design of an insect, and they have such an ability to fly. And it's so interesting to see how helicopters and all those sort of new kind of robotics are learning from the natural world to apply them to their design principles. So if we see a dragonfly, we're going to hopefully spot one and we can talk about it a little bit more, because I'm fascinated by them. These lions look like they're going to be flying up for most of the morning. What we're going to do is we're going to sit here for a bit longer, see what we can see in terms of the different bird species that are here, talk about some of the insects, and we'll relax with the lions and see what else we can learn about the ecology while sitting with the lions. Let's go and see what Brent's up to, and when we get back, let's talk a little bit more about the ecology of a watering hole and what we might find there. See you now.
So, this is definitely not one of the best lion sightings we've ever had. Now, on that clay wall, just before you get to the green bushes on the right, there's something that looks like a stick. It's actually a leg, and then their head's just off to the left. So there's a lioness sleeping on top of that damn wall there. So they have not moved very far at all from where we saw them on last night's sunset safari, as I was hoping they might head towards us. But alas, no such luck. There we go, you can see she lifted her head slightly there and down again. Oh, she's going to sit. Oh, there we go. That's a very nice view, lioness. Sit up for us. I wonder where the male is. Maybe he's sleeping beyond the wall. Come on, get up. Start walking this way. We'll forgive you if you chase Gnormless Gnorm, as long as you don't catch him. Could be very interesting if this is a lioness we don't know. And did she come from the Kruger? Did she come from the south, from the Sand River? course, at this distance, it's very difficult to tell. I'm going to hang around here for a little bit, see if that male gets up. That's definitely just the lioness, but I'm pretty confident the male's around. It's a nice cool morning. So you never know. Maybe let's have a look a little bit further down towards the west, to the area where we first spotted the male cheetah, and then maybe we'll make another swing past here a little later to see if they've moved off that damn wall. Maybe just change angle, maybe we'll spot the male from a different angle, but I don't think so, unfortunately. Nah. So there's another more open area across this hill that we first spotted the cheetah in, so let's go have a look. Well, Nkuhuma from Canada says cheetah plains must groom their roads quite often. It's so smooth. Well, another reason for that is it's a lot more sandy. So the soil's much more sandy down here, but they do also groom their roads quite often. But it is a combination of that and the lovely sandy soils here, which is going to make tracking a treat in a month or two. Now, we all know about the birds that migrate to the Lowveld for the summer months. And Natasha and Ontario is wondering, are there any that do the opposite, that come for the winter? Not really where we are here, Natasha, but a little bit closer to the mountains. You do get altitudinal migrants, white-starred robin and certain parrot species and that, who will move down from the high mountain forests to a little bit lower where it's a bit warmer, but not really all the way down to the Sabi Sands, unfortunately. So the first spot we spotted the cheetah was from over there, so we're just going to have a quick look in that area. And while we make our way there, let's jump back on board to the Nkuhuma Pride.
The sleeping pride continues to sleep down by the water's edge. They must have had a very, very tiring night, because they are... Well, hold on, one of them is actually smelling the air. Just in the top left there. They've got such incredible smell. Like, imagine your senses, your smell, your touch, your taste, and how heightened it would be if you lived in the wilderness every day. These lions can smell things from a very far distance. They can hear things from far, far away. They have very, very different perception of the world to what we do. Which I love to think about. Even that little starling that's jumping in and out of screens sees the world so differently to the eyes of the lion. And the eyes of the lion is seen so differently from the eyes of the human. in terms of what are they seeing? Are they seeing different colors? Do they see mainly black and white? What is it that they see? I love to sit and think about those sort of things. Ooh, there he goes. She goes. Very, very tired this morning. You can hear the different sounds of bird calls. But I just thought just while we're sitting with these lions, I thought I'd just introduce someone who fascinates me and has been a huge part of my learning, just in life in general. The reason why I wanted to go into presenting and to go into learning a little bit more about the natural world is by a man called David Attenborough. And David Attenborough has written this book called Life on Earth, and it's incredible, like what he's seen and what he's picked out in the natural world. And there's something, just because we were talking about dragonflies a little bit earlier, have a look at that dragonfly and look at those wings, those shapes of those wings. So from a biomimicry perspective, they're actually designing wings on helicopters that actually mimic that shape and that design. So incredible. And there's just a really interesting fact here. However this may be, insects with wings appeared some 300 million years ago. 300 million years ago. It's so, like, my mind can't even understand that. I think maybe in 20 to 100 years, 300 million years ago is a very, very long time. The earliest so far discovered are dragonflies. There were several species. Most were about the size of those living today. But with the dragonflies, as with the millipedes and other groups that have pioneered a new environment, the absence of competition allowed some early forms to develop to enormous size. And dragonflies eventually appeared within a wingspan of 70 centimeters, the largest insects to ever exist. Wow. So that's just an interesting fact about how dragonflies are one of the oldest species and insects on this planet, and from a design point of view, we can learn so much from them. So if you have any of them at your home, have a look at them, look at the shapes and designs of the different dragonflies, the colorations. You get some very, very beautiful, different looking dragonflies. As I said, I was hoping to show you a dragonfly while we were here, but it seems that all the dragonflies have left. And while we sit here with the lions that are very relaxed down by the water's edge, we're going to go and see what else we can find. We're not going to move too far away from the lions this morning. We're going to see if we can find some other types of plants and tree species and talk a little bit more about this ecology this morning. I heard that you had a very interesting time with the newly named wildebeest with Brent on Cheetah Plains. I'm yet to meet that wildebeest. That's something, what's his name?
Gnorman, the GNU.
Gnorman the GNU. Jeebus, I'm looking forward to being acquainted with you, Gnorman the GNU. It just rings off the sound of the lips. But for now, lions, it's been a pleasure to see you this morning. As you can see, are very flat and not very mobile this morning, so they probably won't move very far. And if they do, they'll probably go up into the thicket and relax for the morning. With that, I'm going to head off and see what else we can find. James Richard has just said that Enormous Canoe and Monty the Positive Squirrel should be part of the Safari Live crew. I think that's a great idea, you know. Monty the Positive Squirrel. It's funny how that managed to get a name out here in the bush. You know, it's a very, very cool squirrel that has got extra abilities of jumping from trees to trees. Enormous the Canoe has got the ability to do all sorts of things, from eating grass to rubbing himself in the ground, and I'm sure he has some other supernatural things that they could do. So they could be quite good sidekicks. I think Enormous would actually be the lead superhero, and Monty would be the sidekick. Monty the positive squirrel. You'll never meet a squirrel so positive as Monty. And there we go, we're off, guys. It was fantastic sighting. Me and Brian came around the corner to see the lion pride just sitting up next to the watering hole. It was a great feeling to just see them there. As I said, they're most likely going to be relaxing there, so we're going to see what we can find. And I've been told, Brian told me a bit earlier that every chance of seeing a bat. Siberia Zumi would love to see a flower or an animal with a very significant color orange in it. Siberia Zumi, I'm going to do my very best to find you that. And you know, as it comes into the autumn season, as the beautiful leaves will start going a nice golden, crispy brown, it goes a very nice color orange. It's such a beautiful time in the bushveld. You can actually almost see that with some of the trees now. We'll have to look around, but I'm going to try and find a significant color orange so we can talk about it a little bit more. But I was saying a bit earlier, we were chatting about bats a little bit more, myself and Brian, and so you can just see tracks of the pride that they walked here. So we know where they are now, which is exciting. But myself and Brian were chatting a little bit more about bats, and it's quite possible to actually see them in the evening, he was telling me. So if I'm on drive this afternoon, which I think I am, we'll do our very best to see if we can find a bat. And you get two different types of bats. You get fruit-eating bats, and you get insect-eating bats. And the species, from what I understand, that we see the most of here are the insect-eating bats. So we'll do our best to see if we can find those. Oh, we've got a great daker coming in. He's running. Oh, we've just missed him. We had a beautiful great daker come and run just past this termite mound. And it's very difficult to catch and watch them. Not catch, just watch them in general. Because they get their name from divers. It's almost like they're diving. They're great dakers. A daker means to dive, is a diver. And so very difficult to see, very quick on their feet. It looks like they're diving in and out of the bushveld. But he's lurking in very dangerous territory, Mr. Daker. The lion's very close to this place. Be careful, my friend. Marco from New Jersey is asking me what is the asking us what is the difference between dragonflies, damselflies, and the last one. I can't remember what the third one was. It's a very interesting question. Damselflies, dragonflies have come from that family that then separated. So late wings. Oh, okay. But I don't really know the difference the significant differences between the dragonflies. But that's a really interesting question. From what I understand, they grew from parallel kind of evolution. Where they grew from the beginning, and then they just took separate paths. But that's a great question. I'm going to write that down and learn a little bit more about the differences between dragonflies, damselflies. Curtis from Virginia was asking, do I have any favorite snakes? Yes, I do. I had to think about that for a little bit. they're quite scary snakes sometimes, so you forget how beautiful they can be sometimes. But I have a favorite snake. It's called the coral snake, and it lives in the Cederberg Mountains. Well, it lives in many places, but where I saw it was in the Cederberg Mountains, and it's got such beautiful colors. Have a look at it. The coral snake. It's got blue, black, and white. I think those are the three prominent colors, and they're actually very poisonous and dangerous to you. I think they have a neurotoxic venom, which is, well, you get three types of venoms: neurotoxic, cytotoxic, hemotoxic. I think it was a neurotoxic, which means it attacks the nervous system. But they're just such an incredibly beautiful looking snake. And I was once walking through the Cederberg, which is just north of Cape Town, and a coral snake just came over my foot and went over towards the river. Just was so quick, like lightning. And this thing was over my foot. I got the biggest fright. But at the same time, I was wrapped in its beauty. Such a beautiful coral snake. So I'm looking out for any significant oranges out here, and I'm seeing lots of purples and lots of blues. Let's go and see what Brent's up to. I'll see if we can find ourselves some giraffe, some zebra, or some orangeness.
So nothing on the boundary, so we're going to start meandering inland towards 3 in a row pan, see if anything's at the waterhole. And this is the area where we're following some really fresh female leopard tracks a couple of days ago. So just coming back, having a look, seeing if we can find anything more. Also a route that the cheetah like to take through cheetah plains. They come up through here to 3 in a row pan. Anna-Marie's wishing we could see Mvula or Quarantine or Nkuhuma. It's been such a long time. Me too, Anna-Marie. Unfortunately, Quarantine has gone to the west of us, and Nkuhuma is even further to the west of us. Last I heard, he was on the Londolozi boundary, and that was a couple of days ago. I got a report from a friend of mine that side. Mr. Quarantine walked through cheetah plains, but during the night and walked out. So, and Mvula being at the end of his sort of lifespan, is popping up everywhere. He's under huge pressure from all the other leopards, and he's basically just trying to avoid other male leopards at the moment. So hopefully he might pop up, but at the moment this area is pretty much Tingana's, part of Tingana's territory now. Oh, what's that? Nope. Just the old hyena. Now, the ellies seem to be active all over cheetah plains at night, but every time we come here during the day, don't see too many of them. Hopefully that's going to change. It is always so exciting to check through a new area. And apparently the female leopard that is in this area, in the tracks we are following, is a leopard I have not seen before. And she's not the most relaxed. She's one of Tundi's cubs, or Tundi's last cub. I can't remember her name offhand. Maybe someone can remind me. It was a female leopard, Tundi's last cub. If anyone does know her name, I would love for you to let me know. And you can do that by popping me an email on questions@wildearth.tv or use the hashtag #SafariLive on Twitter. What was Tundi's now independent female cub's name? Or is, not was. She's still very much an is, not a was. So Kat in Tampa is saying, well, when we see Karula's tracks next, please could we show her the cub tracks? She would love to see that. Unfortunately, Kat, most of the time Karula's going to be moving around without her cubs, but if we do find tracks of her and the cubs, we will definitely show you. So here we have quite an interesting thing, and it is not what a lot of you are going to think. Now this happened just after I arrived last year, and it is a rhino carcass, and it is a rhino carcass that has died naturally. This rhino was killed in a big fight with another bull. Really interesting skull. So there we go, you can see it's a big white rhino bull. And even though this carcass is a year old, you can see how much sinew is still on here. There's quite a lot of little carrion beetles and wood lice.
I'll just cutting a bit. We've still got your front one.
A bit closer. How's that? So there we go. Still lots of bugs that are just slowly chewing through the sinew. Now, this rhino was a very old boy, and I can tell that by his teeth. You can see they're really worn down. Very smooth, and you can see there some of the teeth have already fallen out. But a very old rhino, judging from his teeth, very worn, so probably a young bull coming into the area to challenge is what was the end of this poor boy. And you can see these sort of growths on the front here, and that's where the horns would have been attached to. So very, very big, very heavy. This probably weighs 20 pounds, maybe even a bit more. But the Birmingham boys spent a long time feeding on this at the beginning of the year. And I always find it amazing how the sinew, even after a long time, holds. There's the vertebra. And when you look a bit closer, it looks quite smelly. You can see how hyenas and other things have chewed on the edges there, but that's even too thick and strong for a hyena to break through. So they've just chewed on the edges. Do you want to smell it, Dave?
Sure.
It's very smelly. Ooh. Yeah, even after a long time, these things still smell quite a bit. So, Anne was wondering, can we tell that it's a white rhino, not a black rhino, just from the skull? Yes, you can. I mean, that is a really massive skull, much bigger than what a black rhino would be, and also the shape's slightly different. They don't have as much of that big ridge at the back, and the head's definitely not as heavy, because a black rhino has to sit up to eat, whereas the rhino has to put his head down to eat. So I'm just making sure I don't get confused. Yes, as I don't think we've driven down that. Oh no, we have. We were tracking a leopard down there the other day. I was only driven down that road once, so I was just checking my map quickly. So we're now going to head towards a 3-in-a-row pan, and hopefully the waterhole is going to give us a little taste of something, or at least a track to follow up on. What was that that just landed in the road? Whatever it was, it took off just as quickly. Ah, there they are. White helmet shrikes. Oh, look at him, he's just caught an insect. Oh, he's got a caterpillar by the looks of things. Let's see if we can get a bit closer. Up in the tree there. No, coming through there. A little bit there. There, they're hopping around. There's one still to the right there. Ooh, off it went. So they're busy feeding, and they're flicking through the vegetation. Now, quite an interesting thing is that they're sometimes nicknamed the Seven Sisters, because they're often in flocks of 7, sometimes 8, of course, sometimes 9, but very often in flocks of 7. They move off. So that was a white crested helmet shrike. And they don't have a very distinct call. Here we go, that's probably their most distinct, but they don't call that too often. They're normally sort of making lots of funny little noises. Very pretty little call. We're approaching the turn-off 3-in-a-row pan now, and hopefully we're going to find something. Now what? So I'm just looking at these tracks here. They look a bit old, unfortunately. They look like a young male leopard. Now, Jen B said Tundi's last cub was Bahuti. I know, and he was a young male. We saw him once with Scott, if I remember correctly. And here's some young male leopard tracks here. This could be Mr. Quarantine, but I feel this is the same tracks that Ephraim followed into a net yesterday. Now, Jen, Bahuti is, I know, I was wondering about the female cub, the previous cub to Bahuti. She is the one that holds territory in the southwestern part of Cheetah Plains and into Mala Mala. So, if anyone can tell me what the cub before Bahuti's name was, it's a female, so she's probably around 3.5, 4 years old now. While we make our way towards a 3-in-a-row pan, let's jump across to Sam and see what he's up to.
We are now driving cheetah cutline towards our, so this is our boundary line. So the cut line, this is one of our cut lines. We're now getting to little Gowrie cut line, which will take us down back to, this is the most southern boundary of the reserve. And we've had an interesting morning so far, and hopefully we can find some leopard tracks. I've been told that Brent has seen some leopard tracks where he is. It's exciting. But we're going to slowly bumble and see if we can find some more birds. I've been slacking on my bird list. I want to get back onto that. We've seen a number of doves, which is the most common bird, and I haven't been able to get a good stable sighting on the dove, but hopefully we'll be able to find other birds and see what else is around us. What I've thoroughly enjoyed is learning a little bit more about the butterfly species and what different types of butterflies do. And it was so interesting learning from Brent just 2 days ago about the monarch butterfly and how it, at its early stages, it feeds on a plant called milkweed, I think it's called milkweed. And in eating that plant, it makes a very, oh wow, guys, there's another bird for our bird list. It's a hammerkop. Let's see if we can get a good position of that. Wow, guys. Have a look at this beautiful bird. Oh, so excited. I'm going to get a picture of it in the book. These birds are waders, so you can see this hammerkop is walking through the water, and while he walks through the water, he gets something to eat. That comes out, nibbles on it, and that is morning. That's his morning. You can have a look at his head. That's why it's called a hammerkop. It's a hammer head. His head looks like a little bit like a hammer, don't you think? Well, these birds are incredible, and you must have a look at their nest. Their nest structure is something else. They build such big nests, and they'll use pretty much anything to build the nests. I mean, they've even used I've seen a hammerkop nest that's been built and used some of human things. Once I saw plastic bags in a hammerkop nest once, and they were using that. So it's a very intelligent creature. It uses all the available resources it can to make these big, thick nests. Oh, you just saw there, he just had something to eat. This is cool. So he wades, and then he just eats what he wades through the water there. So that's another one to our bird list. I'm going to write that down right now. The hammerkop. Beautiful. Look at the design of that beak. Look at the back of its head. The structure of this bird is just magnificent. And I wonder why, some birds have very specific type of beak structures, in terms of what it eats, like what it might eat. Like a kingfisher has a very specific design of the beak that allows it to dive into water at a very good angle. And, within human design, we've designed that beak into trains. In Japan, they've created a train that has the front, the front of the beak is on the front of the train to help it go through tunnels a little bit more efficiently, make speed more effective. And if we have a look at this hammerkop, it's got a very interesting design in terms of the way its beak structure. They really are magnificently beautiful birds. I'll see if I can find it on the book here while it's hiding there. Hammerkop number 53. There we go. Okay, so while the hammerkop hides behind there, let's have a look at it over here, get a little bit of a closer angle of it. So, the head is unmistakably shaped like a hammer. So that's why it's given the name. As you can see, just like we saw it now, it was in water. So it goes through the waters and it starts just pushing things out of the water and eating that. That's exactly what we saw, which was fantastic. And as I said, it says untidy nest of debris up to 2 meters in diameter with flattened covered dome and a side entrance. So hopefully, I'm not too sure if there is a hammerkop, well, there must be a hammerkop nest somewhere on the property, but this is actually our cut line, so maybe Oh, it's on Arethusa. So it's on Arethusa. So hopefully one day when I get the chance to go to Arethusa, we'll be able to learn a little bit more about the hammerkorp and the way in which its nests are designed. Incredible species of bird. Very, very excited to have seen it. It's the first time I've seen it in 2 years. That is the hammerkorp. There we go, you can see. There he goes, eating. Senior Gold, it's a very, very interesting question, and he was asking, with the dry season, as everything dries up, like these little watering holes, is that going to make it quite a stressful situation for other mammals and predators that are on the area? Yes, of course. Most animals design their habitats according to the availability of food and water resources. So when the availability of water reduces, that also reduces the amount of mammal species and food availability. So you'll find that everything becomes concentrated to a specific place. So it's very stressful. You can imagine elephants coming in from very far and wide, coming into these spots and having to share it with other mammals. And this is going to make it a little bit easier for the predators, as all the mammals have to come to one place instead of being dispersed out there. So Senior Gold, it's going to be an exceptionally interesting winter, as it's already been a very, very dry. It's been a very, very dry summer, and that's normally what the bush is. It has a summer rainfall. So as the winter comes on, it's not going to be as much rainfall. So it's going to be very, very dry this year. I think it's going to be the driest it's been in a very long time here in the Sabi Sands, and there's not as many water availability in the Kruger as there is here in the Sabi Sands. So there's the huge chance that we're going to be seeing many, many different types of the elephants that come in and will be competing for the water resource. So it's going to be a dangerous time in terms of viewing animals on foot, because experiencing animals that aren't used to seeing humans like the ones in the Kruger, can be something that you have to have respect for. So it's going to be an interesting winter. I look forward to seeing how it goes. And as you know, after autumn, all this green foliage that you see ahead of us here is going to start drying up, and the leaves are going to fall, and that's going to make it a lot easier for us to see all the different types of plains game and giraffe and everything out here in the bush. So it's going to be a much different scene in just a couple of months. As we were talking about it the other day, it's very clever how the natural environment will lose all its leaves. When it loses all its leaves, it then gets brought back into the soil, and the trees will actually use the energy of the old leaves to help with the new leaves in the coming spring. So everything in nature uses feedback loops and is very clever in its design. So that hammerkorp has been written down. I think the name was Mizzou in Major. Sorry, I didn't quite catch that, Kirsty. Mizzou in Maju in Major. Maju. Sorry, I'm very bad. Sometimes can't pronounce very well. The question was, are impalas sometimes known as springboks? No, they're a completely different type of antelope. And we don't actually get springboks down here in the Sabi Sands. We get springboks closer to where I am back in Cape Town. And that's, so it's not the habitat for, ooh, wow. Talking about antelope, we are finding some of our special water designed antelope. Just going to get a good position there. Ooh, what bird is that? That's our friend. I can't believe it, guys. I haven't actually put this bird on our bird list, and now it's going straight onto that. Turtleneck dove. Ringneck dove, was known. And here is the waterbuck. Wow, guys, it's been an exciting morning. It's basically 10 minutes we got 2 birds, and I was sitting with some beautiful waterbuck. Look at that significant ring on his bum there. That helps with the youngsters to follow their mothers out here. And we can quite clearly see that these are 2 females. It very well might be a youngster. Oh, there's another one. It looks like an elder one. And they're very social, this antelope. With the females and the youngsters, they'll most of the time walk together in their groups. And the males have such different horns to that of a kudu and a nyala and all the different types of antelope. You'll see that their horns are a lot more straighter. Let's see if we can get a good picture of it. Waterbuck. So they've been given the name waterbuck because you'll most likely find them close to water, so they'll never stray too far away from water, the waterbuck. And what's really interesting is a sighting that I had many years ago, or 2-3 years ago, is when a waterbuck got scared of a hyena. A hyena came and chased a small little waterbuck, and it came and the waterbuck jumped into the water and swam to the middle of the watering hole to try and get away from the hyena, which was a very clever and maybe sometimes effective way of getting away from predators. But at that time, it didn't work for the little guy. It's a shame. He got taken by that hyena. Not shame, it's the way in which the natural world works. But he did his very best to get away. So that was one of the experiences that I had of a little tiny waterbuck. I'm just going to find the waterbuck here, the 198. Here's the waterbuck. Ooh, sorry, that's a cooking reed. Ooh, sorry. 198. Ooh, sorry guys. Thought I knew what page that was. Coming there. 198. I was actually on it. This is quite interesting. This is not the waterbuck, even though it looks like it. Sorry, I put another book. The Normal's book wasn't working. Common names. Waterbuck 188. There we go. Coming back down from that beautiful bird that was sitting on a tree to a book that will find us exactly what we want to see. Here is the waterbuck. This is the male. We were just talking about the type of horns that a waterbuck has. Look at those significant horns there. Very different to that of a kudu. And when you go tracking, that is the spoor that you will most likely find with a waterbuck. So, we saw a female when we were out there. The one in the book was a significant male with those beautiful horns. Ross from Australia was asking, what is a female waterbuck called? What is a female waterbuck called? Is it a ram? Maybe a ram. I think it's called a ram. Yeah. Sorry, it's a cow, everyone, it's a cow. Female waterbuck is a cow. So it's still quite a cloudy morning here in the Sabi Sands. It's been, actually we'd really like some rain at some point because there's going to be a very dry winter. So the more rain that we can get now, the better. Look at those clouds. You can see there's a little bit of grey in them. The darker the cloud, the more chance of rain there is. Hopefully, we'll have some rain. And if we're lucky, if they don't get any rain today and I'm on drive this evening, I'll be very happy to do a rain dance to see if we can get some rain. I say that now, maybe I'm not. Rain dance. It worked so well the first time I did a rain dance. We got rain the next day. So I know it's going to be a very, very dry winter. You see, as we can see coming up to our left, we have a watering hole here. Why I'm bringing up the watering holes, because we said that waterbuck won't travel too far from the availability of water. And this is exactly where I saw the waterbuck the other day. It was here. So it's every chance that the waterbuck will be using this watering hole to sit at. But we're going to go towards Twin Dams. We are now on Twin Dams Road. We're going to see if we can see some more bird species. Would like me to still find a big male kudu. I haven't forgotten you, Chelsea. As soon as I found that big male kudu, I was going to tell you straight away. We're gonna do our very best to see one. It's quite difficult at the moment. I think because the lions were on the property last night, so they scared quite a few things. But I'm still looking for something orange in the bushveld, even if it's a flower or a color of an animal. We've got a starling here just ahead of us. Ooh. Let's see if we can get a better. Starlings have very, very significantly orange eyes, if it is the starling I'm thinking of. There it is. Oh, it's just flown away. Sorry everyone, that was actually a virtual starling. It's just landed over there. That was a virtual starling. Have a look at that iridescence. Isn't that, it's like that sheen. It's almost like glows on the virtual starling. That's actually keratin. So the same sort. Oh, is that a sandpiper behind it? Oh, where is? Let me just see if I can. It's incredible. Let's have a look at that. Just gonna get the binoculars out and see what kind of. Yes. So you get three types of sandpipers. I've got a feeling that this is the wood sandpiper. So you can quite clearly see some white stripes on the back. Some sort of yellowish feet with a white chest. Yellowishy orange. Right, so those are my distinction. I can't really see the eye of it. I'm going to keep having a look there while I get my book out. Right, sandpiper. Also a wading bird. You'll find it coming on the waterine areas and it just eats the little insects on the water's edge. Sandpiper. RS 78. Alright. Okay, let's have one last look at him. You can see that it almost looks like drops in the water there. It looks like it's raining, but it's not raining, everyone. It's actually little insects that are on top of the water surface. So that is what the sandpiper will be feeding on. We've got a fish. Ooh. Look at this, guys. Ooh. It's the crested francolin. Someone's not very happy here. What's going on? Let's watch this. Something obviously upset with francolin. Just gonna watch and see what it gets up to. I love the way Franklins walk. They always make me smile. Wow, so that was quite an interesting little interaction there between the two little crested Franklins. But let's go back. Guys, I'm really excited to be seeing the sandpiper. It's a bird that you don't often see out here. You normally see the common. So this is the one that I've seen a few times. It's the common sandpiper. And from looking at what I saw in my binoculars, I thought it could have been this one, the wood sandpiper, because I noticed those yellowish, prominently yellow legs there. But the big difference would be to have seen this area because of the eye, because the differences between the green and the sand, they can look very similar. But this is the one I think it is, the wood sandpiper. Guys, we've seen a hammerkop and a wood sandpiper in the last 20 minutes. That's really exciting because they're two birds that are not very easy to see sometimes. So if you're still following on our bird list that is growing slowly but surely, we've had 3 this morning. Ringneck dove, the hammerkop, and now the wood sandpiper. And we got to watch some crested Franklins getting a little bit upset, fighting over there. So we've seen lions and bird activity this morning. Very different things. Alright, so let's go and see what Brent's up to. We're going to carry on down this road and find some more birds.
So we're back from Cheetah Plains on Nkuhuma, and felt like I was missing some elephants in my life, so let's go see if we can find some ellies. Just a quick update on the Queen. She has crossed back to the south towards where she is keeping the cubs at the moment, so fingers crossed she makes her way back sometime during the weekend. Now, there's been some massive herds of elephants around, and I'm hoping we can catch up with one of them, being trailed by these massive musk bulls. So we were talking about that independent female cub that belongs to Tundi that is sometimes seen in the southwestern sections of Cheetah Plains. And Ellen Fowler says apparently she might not have a name yet. And I sort of vaguely remember Andrew from Cheetah Plains saying something, but there's one way to sort this out. Ephraim. Morning for that Mampimpan one site Ingwe for Tundi. Does she have a name? Copy, thanks very much. And her name is no name, sorry. Negative F, just in Konzo. I went to double M. So she does not have a name yet. I somehow remember Andrew calling her something, but I'm not sure what. So she's not the most relaxed around vehicles. She lives in an area where there's not a lot of vehicle traffic. But according to Andrew, she is quite relaxed with a single vehicle or 2 vehicles, but as soon as there are more vehicles, she becomes a little bit skittish. So hopefully we will be able to find her and see her, and I will try and get hold of Andrew. Andrew's on leave at the moment, so to see if there's a name. Ephraim says he hasn't heard of a name for her, so maybe we should call her the Shangaan word of the day. Uncle Steve, I don't know. Oh, lots of ellie tracks. lots and lots of ellie tracks. Hopefully we're going to catch up with them shortly. Do a little swing by the treehouse waterhole. So, Kat in Tampa is wondering, she saw on a fact of the day somewhere that scorpions dance before mating. Is this true? Well, certain species will have sort of ritual mating dances. A lot of that's not so much as dancing as sizing up whether it's worth mating with that individual. Is it a nice big male? So probably more of a checking out rather than a dancing. And it is probably, yes, true. So here we go, let's go meander through. Oh, not an elephant, but definitely a big beast. Not quite as big as an elephant. But on the march. Hello, mister. Surrounded by an absolute horde of flies. Buffalo bull, not the most relaxed chap. There we go. Hiding behind the bush. I wonder why he's not so relaxed. Did he have a run-in with the Nkuhumas and manage to escape last night? Huh? The stories he might be able to tell. Now, someone was looking for something orange earlier, and I know Sam was in search of it. Siberia was looking for something orange, and we've got an orange creature there. There we go. There's an African monarch butterfly feeding on a Waltharia plant. Now, this is also one of the plant species that a monarch will lay its eggs on for the larval stage to feed off, to sequester poisons from. So when they're adults, they become poisonous. So acria butterflies and monarch butterflies both feed off the Waltharia when they are caterpillars, which makes them noxious when they're adults. And no ellies at the treehouse waterhole. It's not too warm this morning, so they're not going to be gravitating towards the waterholes as much as they would during a hot morning. Howdy, Corey from the US of A. Corey would love to see some raptors or eagles. We will keep a lookout for those for you, Corey. We'll be scanning the treetops and the skies. Now, on an overcast morning like this, we're not going to get them soaring, catching those thermals, but we might find them still perching, waiting for it to warm up. So I think I haven't done a nearly impossible tree quiz for a while. So let's see if we can find a nearly impossible tree quiz. Or maybe we should start with a slightly difficult tree quiz and move on to the nearly impossible tree quiz. Let me have a look around and about for the correct thing. I don't want to make it too easy, but not too hard. That's too easy, that's too easy. Ah, I know exactly where to start looking for a specific species, and I think might fox a few of you, but maybe not. But while we make our way to the foxy species, let's start with a slightly easier one. There we go. Now, if we look at this little one here, not the big one, and you can see it's got compound leaves, it's got spines, and very dark leaves. This is a reasonably big individual, but it's got spines rather than thorns, very dark compound leaves that are bipinnate and end in a terminal, so they end in a point. Let me grab a leaf. Oh, no, I'm stuck. There we go. So you can see it ends in a point. The leaves don't come out of the exact same place. They're slightly opposite. That is a compound leaf, and that is the first of, this is the reasonably difficult tree quiz. We're going to move on to the nearly impossible tree quiz next. So what tree is this, or bush is this here? And if you know the answer, send it to us on questions@wildearth.tv, or use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Monkey Man, I'm not impressed with you. That was far too quick, and that was spot on. It was a zebrawood, Dalbergia menoloxen. Now I'm definitely going to go find the nearly impossible tree. Oh, let's go, Dave. That was too easy, I think. I was too nice. So now we're gonna up the ante a little bit. Let's see if it's got any seeds on it. No, not yet. Not yet. That one's too easy. Moving on. Uh-oh. Speaking of trees, Kimber says she only knows Christmas trees. Well, Kimber, Christmas trees are conifers. We don't get any of those here. But if you keep watching Safari Live, hopefully we'll be able to increase your tree knowledge drastically. And we got a little rain spot there. Dangerous? Or is it a bug? It's a bug. There's a little tiny bug. So you've got to be very careful in removing bugs, because, no, not that one, in the middle of the lens.
Oh, shit.
If you pop them, they leave lots of stuff. There we go, well done. Dave managed to remove it without making a mess. So I'm heading for a nice big seep line to find a specific bush. Ah, Cheryl. Cheryl is in sunny California, would like to know how Dave got the name, whoopsie, jumping sticks, Dangerous. Now, Dave, how did you get the name Dangerous?
It's a bit of alliteration.
Yes.
I'm not sure what the story behind it is.
There is no story, but it just, I think it sounds a bit more manly than Dancing Dave, or what was the other one?
Dazzling.
Dazzling Dave, Dancing Dave. I thought guys were just maybe making out Dave to be a little bit soft around the edges, so I decided to start calling him Dangerous Dave, you know, give him some street cred. So while I look for a very, very specific little bush that I'm hoping will be the nearly impossible tree of the day, let's go see what Sam is up to.
Hello, we are back down by the river. You can see the nice green grasses where we are. This is a drainage line where lots of buffaloes will come and feed on this nice thick vegetation. I heard that you found something green that is great. Well, not green, sorry, orange. So I was talking about the green grasses and I got mixed up between green and orange, which is quite silly. But here we are. We're next to Tree House Dam. So the dam is just to the right of us, as you can have a look. And so what you have to be is very careful around these areas because you often have elephants and buffalo that will come around it just because of the water and this nice thick green vegetation. So when you are on foot and you're walking, one must always be careful of this area. And yesterday, myself and Brent were sitting right over there. If you have a look right up where, if you see that elephant dung just over there, we were sitting over there watching a male drinking, a big male bull, elephant bull, drinking water. And then over my shoulder, the next thing I knew, about 60 elephants just came streaming down here towards the river. Like when I say streaming, they were running towards this water. And I watched 60 elephants play in Treehouse Dam. And it's something that I'll take with me for the rest of my life. You know, we couldn't move. We had to sit in the same position. They just came and smelt a little bit and saw what we were, saw that we were no threat. And then they just came and had a good drink of water and started eating and grazing the grasses. So special moments here at Djuma. It's now, I think it must be like drive number 10 for me, or 8, 9 or 10. So I'm slowly but surely learning a little bit more about the ecology of Djuma and understanding how to be behind the camera and just the positioning of vehicles. You know, it's all very interesting trying to do all of this. But I heard that you are having a plant competition with Brent, which is great fun. I just want to quickly, I know that we did grasses a little bit earlier and we had that competition with grasses, so I thought it would be good that we go through some of the scientific names and we just have a look at the different grass groups that we saw. So the one on the right here is that second one that we had a look at, which is guinea grass, which is Panicum maximum. So someone got that right and they did very well. Very common grass here in the bush. The second one that we saw was the finger grass. So we saw a finger grass tree, which is this one here. It looks very similar to that, and sometimes when the finger grass just starts, you can see it's quite clumped together and then it eventually becomes like finger grass. So sometimes you may mistake that for another species. And the final one that we saw, which was the Chloris fugata, the feather-top Chloris. This is the one that we didn't see, well, that I had never seen before or didn't know the name of. So those are the three grasses that we saw, which is great. Learning a little bit more about this ecology. We just saw a buffalo bull. So the buffalo came down into the thicket and they started chewing on some of the grasses as we were driving past. So there's actually a lot going on this morning. We started not seeing much, but when you look, you can find anything. I think you saw, was the orange that you saw on the monarch. Let's see if we can find another little piece of orange. We go slowly through here, we can very well come across another elephant or a buffalo. Alright, enjoy the tree quiz with Brent.
Ha! Now, monkey man, try this one. So here we go. These are the pods. So I was looking for one that had pods. And see, small leaves. I'm going to show you what the bush looks like now. And there's quite a few of them around here. They grow on the edge of seep lines, slightly disturbed soils. Very sticky pod, almost designed to sort of stick into fur to spread. So there's where it comes from. I'll show you one that's got some pods on it already. So that is it. They can get a bit bigger than that, but normally around that size. And I've definitely showed you it before, so it's not like I'm asking an unknown species. And there's another one there that doesn't have pods, but it's a bit closer, so you can see the shape and the bark. That one, there. Zoom in a bit there, we can see it's a bit closer, we can see it, look at the bark. And you can see the general shape. Always slightly bedraggled looking little bushes. Now on Cheetah Plains there's some actually very big ones compared to normal, but there we go. If you know the answer to what this particular bush is, I will be very impressed, and you will be winning at the Nearly Impossible Tree Quiz and I will be failing. And I'm going to have to up the game on the next safari if that's the case. So, for those of you who might be new, if you know what that Nearly Impossible tree is, send in your answers to questions@wildearth.tv or use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter for the Nearly Impossible Tree Quiz. I might have to try the Impossible Tree Quiz next. So there's a little bit of a competition going on this morning between Monkey Man and myself after he so quickly got that Dalbergia menoloxin, better known as, it rains quite hard, where did this come from? Look at it moving in over the crest. So Monkey Man, sorry about that. After he got that last tree so quickly, I had to up the game, and Monkey Man says he doesn't think he knows this one. Even I know a lot of you were rooting for him. Sorry, I'm just covering up cameras and things. All of a sudden, there's quite a hard rain. I mean, look at that. It's just come out of absolutely nowhere. Look at it streaming in from the west. All right, now the game is on. The game is on. The next safari, I'm going to find the impossible tree. Well done to Raisa. It is in fact, yes, a hairy caterpillar bush or a caterpillar bush on a carpon podocarpon. Now, in certain areas, in certain game reserves, oh dear, we're going to have to put rain covers on. This is actually coming down really. But I'll do that while I get the bag out. I'll explain. So, Raisa is correct. It is the hairy caterpillar bush, and in certain parts it is devoid of. It is very, very rare because it gets used for a traditional ailment, an ailment that goes through all people, and it affects men particularly when they get a little bit south of 50, and it is the Shangaan equivalent of the little blue pearl. And I think I'll leave it at that. So this is very strange. So while we put the rain covers on, I think Sam's a little bit behind us, so he hasn't got this big one. Ooh, just shake it out. There we go. So, Dave, you're going to keep your ears in. Yep. So you can let me know if we must link, and I'm going to help by climbing out. So you're going to see. Here we go. Oh no, wrong way around.
Wrong way.
Oh, Dave. Inside out. Amazing, this weather came out of absolutely nowhere. Okay, so while we finish doing this, we're going to say bye for a little and jump on board with Sam.
What happened over here? Oh my word. Have a look at this, guys. If you have a look, it's a marula tree that has been broken down by elephants. Jeepers, that just shows you. They're very, very strong animals, elephants. They're heavy. You can imagine they just can come and push over a tree like this. But if we go back towards the log there, and if we can go close and see at the back, that's exactly it. If we go closer there, we're going to find that what is going to happen is the termites, well, it's on a termite mound, if you can see it's on a termite mound, and it's been eaten by termites. So that's probably why it was so easy, or it was so easy to fall down, because it had become a lot more brittle because of the termites coming through the trunk. And so what's really interesting is that the holes and the cavities within this log will grow and grow, and there's going to be a lot more habitat and space for other creatures like scorpions, snakes, little ants, and provide ample opportunity for more diversity to flourish here. So when we see logs like this, we see trees being pushed over, and it doesn't mean that the biodiversity is decreasing in the area. It will also increase in terms of
So we are relatively rain-proof for a soft rain like this, but sure, that just came out of nowhere. And it seems to be getting harder as well as we move further towards the sort of northwest where it's coming from. But it looks like the impalas are quite happy with this weather. Now, Danica, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Danica would like to know, are there any species of wild rose that grow in South Africa? And the answer is no, Danica. We've got lots of wild hibiscuses, wild poppies. Oh, look at this. The impala rut. There's a male here snorting, not at a potential predator, but at probably another male trying to keep him away from the ladies. Oh, look at that, jumping for joy. They really are enjoying the slightly cooler weather with the drizzle. That's this year's babies that are along. And some of the adults joining in as well. Lovely, massive herd of impala we have on the quarantine clearings. Now you might hear some pounding in the distance, and it's just some maintenance work happening at our house. Oh, see, there we go. There's two big males around, one just over there with a group of other males, so he's putting on a big display for them. You see how, where is he? Is that in there? You see how massive and thick his neck is. Oh, look at that. Wasn't that just the best? Oh, look at them go. And now this is just playing. They're just playing. They're going to come up behind us here. enjoying the cool weather. There we go, coming through. There's probably a good 60 or a challenge on the dominant male. And Catherine's saying how she loves to see them frolic about. Me too, Catherine. And this is the best time of the year for frolicking with the rutting. Oh, look at those little boys practicing for next year's rut. They're far too small to be challenging. Oh, I've lost sight. Oh, there he is. Let me just have a look. And there we go. Now have a look at the size of his neck. I mean, he's in fact, oh! And just for no reason at all, wildebeests decided to join in the frolicking. Just playing, and they're often referred to as the actually clowns of the bushveld, the wildebeest. When they start playing, they can sometimes go on for an incredibly long time. Now let's just go back to that big male. There we go. There he is. Look at the size of his neck. You can see he's in prime condition. Very thick neck, nice and strong. And I'm just trying to find a good comparison. There we go. Look at a beautiful specimen. There we go. The rutting sort of cough. And then you can see there's a nice little boy right next to him, but this is this year's babies. Oh, they're deciding to go the other way now. Now, there's that big male, and he's watching. If we go to the left there, Dave, keep going, zoom in a bit. A bit more. Let me see, there's that male there, walking away. So, his neck, not nearly as thick, but he might try to sort of sneak a lady on the side. And you can see it's a hard job keeping all these females in check. Oh, look at that little game that's going on behind us there. One of those things where there's so many animals, you never know quite where to look all the time. They're going to come back around behind us. Here we go, here they come. Look at this, they're just having the best time in this cool, drizzly weather. Isn't this incredible? Off they go again. Now that poor male doesn't know what to do. There you go. Now he's spotted a possible rival. And then he decided to keep that female away from him. Now it's a lot of hard work to keep all these girls in one spot. And of course there's so many male impala around. Now he's decided that female is either... Oh, he's lost sight of her. It's such a strange noise, not something you'd expect from a beautiful, graceful-looking impala, and all of a sudden, it's chasing the ladies now, trying to keep them all around in one place, away from any other suitors. Absolutely fascinating behavior. Oh, I think he's about to set off again. There's some more males down in that direction he's walking. Nkuhuma says she just loves the impala morning ballet. You see how he's trying to sort of angle the females back towards the others? There's just so many places to look. Impala everywhere. Oh, look at that one. She's did a little feint there. No, decided it's time to eat now. Monkey Man's wondering if I can find a false marula for him as a reward for getting the answer to the zebra wood so quickly. Unfortunately, the area I'm in is not going to be a good spot for false marulas, but maybe where Sam is, there might be a good chance on his way back from the western sections. But we can have a quick look, but I can't remember offhand any false marulas around Quarantine. So we try find a false marula in the last few moments of drive. Let's jump back on board with Sam, who's also got some impala.
Here we are with a big group of bachelors. Look at the size of their horns. You can see that these are quite big males, and it's coming towards the rutting season. The rutting season is between April and May. You'll see the males will come together and form these bachelor herds, and in these herds they'll push each other to get stronger and stronger. They'll wrestle against each other and do all sorts of things. So apparently you've been watching the impalas running around with you and Brent. That must have been very exciting. Here we are relaxing with some beautiful looking impala males. And as the day goes on, these males will probably be feeding off and going into these open areas. As you can see, it's raining now. It's much wetter than it was before. I can tell you now the whole bush is alive and feeling a little bit more exuberant, if that's the right word to say, about having some rain. So we didn't need to have a rain dance. Potentially we could have one in the future when we are in serious need of rain in the future, which will be coming up in the winter season, where it's the winter months, which are very, very dry months. But it's been a fantastic drive. We've seen lions, we've seen little things. I didn't manage to find something orange, but at least you saw one with Brent. This afternoon I'm out on drive. We'll see if we can find a roadside pimpernel, which are beautiful flowers that are orange. Otherwise, Kirsty and the directors team, thank you very much. Brian and the bow tie. It's been a fantastic morning looking around and being a little bit formal out in the bushveld. It's always good to be formal sometimes. I hope that you guys all have a beautiful evening or morning or whatever time it is in the world for you. All the best, and see you for the sunset safari.
So unfortunately, no false marula, a real marula with a pair of purple rollers. Oh, there goes one. One's still there. Beautiful birds. Now, Them and the lilac-breasted rollers are our resident roller species, unlike the European, who has departed and travelled on. Yeah, Franklin calling as well. And right next to us, it's not often they sit so still. Maybe it's this little bit of damp weather. And we do see monarchs quite frequently, but this is a really lovely visual right next to us. It's him opening his wings.
Yeah.
There we go. Very close. So they're going to struggle a little bit with this light rain, as you can see there. Dampens their wings, makes it a little bit harder for them to fly, but makes it a little bit easier for us to see them. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. The African monarch. There's quite a lot of monarchs around this morning. I'm trying to see if there were any other butterflies that were weighed down with a bit of damp. But before we close, Monkey Man, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to find you a false marula. You're going to have to ask Sam and Jamie on the Sunset Safari. But I can find something to add to my breakfast. Oh, so lovely. Very pretty little flower, but it's also not only a flower, it's a herb. And I think I'm going to have to add it to my eggs this morning. You can see these beautiful, delicate little flowers. Let me turn it that way. Oops. There we go. A slight bit of purple and white. And these purple spots on top are actually leaves that are, I think they're to attract attention of the color-seeing insects to bring them through to the little white flowers. But it is wild basil. So lovely, lovely smell. There you go. Smell that, Sam. Goes very well. You can eat it raw, or you can cook it. Mmm. Yum, 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 yum. Wild basil. Goes very well with eggs. Now we're gonna, I think I'm just gonna slide down the hill a little bit. And just maybe, I think I see a false marula in the distance. Is it? It is. There we go. We're not going to get too close to it, Monkey Man, but we did manage to spot one. Keep going, Sam. David, there we go. That one there in the distance. There's a false marula in the distance. You can see it's got a very similar shape to the marula, but it's not. So thanks for joining us on the Sunrise Safari, and don't forget to join Jamie and Sam on the Sunset Safari. But from Dave and myself, it's been a pleasure, and we'll see you soon.